Hello, everyone, and welcome to Thought Leadership Thursday. My name is Mark Flurka, and I am a baker influencer. In this segment, we sit down with thought leaders in the baking industry to discuss leadership, bakery trends, and much more. Today, we are joined by Jonathan Leszecki of Ashworth Brothers. Welcome, Jonathan. Did I say that right?
Thank you. Yeah, you got it right. Leszecki.
Leszecki.
You're close. I'll give it to you.
Well, thank you for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit
Thank you
about
for having
yourself, like what you do for Ashworth and or what? I just call it Ashworth. That's kind of my thing, but it's Ashworth Brothers.
Well, that's how we go by anyway. In the industry, we're known as Ashworth. So Ashworth Brothers Incorporated is our corporate name, but really in the industry, we're known as Ashworth. So that's our branding name. So that's perfect. That's fine. But no, Jonathan Leszecki. I'm with Ashworth Brothers. I'm currently the director of engineering. I've been here now close to 30 years. Well, 30,
Wow.
30-ish years. So right in that time, started. What's that?
Part of the furniture.
Oh, almost. Yeah, they built furniture around me, I think, too. Some of the buildings been here built after me. But, I started out as a product engineer. And what it was back then, we were, evaluating applications, working with customers, troubleshooting, recommending, and developing and doing through all the processes that, engineers would do in this type of role. Over the years, I've moved through different roles and been director of engineering now for probably about 4 or 5 years. And I'm currently responsible for not only the engineering the group, which is the product engineering, application engineering, manufacturing engineering, but also quality and sales in general. So sales for the Americas, but I do have a close relationship with our sales group over in Europe as well, because we have a
cool. That's good.
sister company there in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. So work as that. So, but pretty much if it happens in Ashworth, I probably know it happened, or I can give you a story about what happened the last time it happened. So as you say, part of the furniture.
Excellent. That's amazing. That's awesome. Tell me, what are you, as in like Ashworth, what are you known for as, or what would you like to be known for as thought leaders in the industry?
Ashworth, of course, we've been around for a long time. We started back in the early 40s. Actually, as a company, we started back in the 1800s, or 1900s. So we came over actually from England. This had some equipment back then, which was actually card clothing, which is a textile type equipment. We've gotten out of that business probably 40, 50 years ago, and probably in the 50s, we started getting into conveyor belting. And since that time, we've done a lot. We actually have over 200 patents in the conveyor belting industry, and that's for belting, design of belting, some of the applications, some other products, auxiliaries, sprockets, and things that go on that. But what we're known for, or I like to say we are known for, and believe we are, is really troubleshooting. We're innovators, we're problem solvers, and we're the company that if you need to have a problem, no one can help you, you call Ashworth and we're going to work with you and try to figure it out. So
awesome.
We deal with a lot of companies as, I need to move something from A to B. It's this weight, it's this temperature. How do we get it there with minimal damage, minimum transfers? And how do I get conveyor belting that's best for the application to make sure that the belt's going to have longevity? Yep. And of course, I'm going to get the product that's going to get through with the best throughput and the best product quality for that customer, whoever it may be. So,
yeah, because a belt for a cracker line is not going to be the same thing as a belt on a bread line. I mean, they're
exactly. Everything is different. Yeah. Temperatures are different. So we become, I'll say experts, but we become very knowledgeable of, different materials. We know all the stainlesses, all the carbon steels. We deal with everything now. Of course, bakery is a big part of our industry, but we do a lot with poultry. We do a lot with, other proteins. We do everything from automotive to, canning. So we're in all the industries. So we're involved in a lot of different atmospheres, high nitrogen, low, CO2 atmospheres, ammonia, all that stuff. We get involved in a lot of different industries and how the belts need to function at different temperatures, different restraints. So very involved.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot. That's definitely puts you guys in a leadership role there for sure.
There's no 2 days that are the same. I can tell you that. You every day is different.
Yeah. And so, having said that, what would you say inspires you in the baking industry these days? What do you find inspirational?
Well, the biggest thing is especially when I hire people, I'm part of I'm part of our new hire, onboarding and stuff. So when I talk to people, when you talk about conveyor belting, which is what we do, I always explain to them, what do you think we do here? And of course, you get the stories. We build conveyor belts for this. And I said, well, if you look at it as a general rule, what Ashworth does is we feed the world. And that's what I say. When you think about what our responsibilities are, is we're producing belting, which are going into processed conveyors, which are producing food. And I explained to them, you can go through any grocery store and almost every aisle is going to be a product that was produced on a conveyor belt. Yep. And we were probably involved in the conveyor belt. Hopefully it was ours, but a conveyor belt that was used to process that equipment. So we're everything from high temperature, low temperatures, cooking, cooling, freezing, proofing. So we're involved in all that. So what we do is behind the scenes. You don't go buy our product at the Walmart or the Lowe's. So people don't know of us unless you're in the industry. But if you're in the industry, hopefully, Ashworth is a brand that you recognize, and we're standing for quality, support, troubleshooting, and all those morals that we think are great. So we're trying to work with the customers, not only the producers, but for the end users. And I tell everybody what we produce is it's food you're going to eat, your mother's going to eat, your dog's going to eat, your children, grandchildren. So what you do is very important. Don't think you're bending wire, welding. There's more to it than that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Understand it's important.
What I hear you saying is what you're doing is you're delivering food in a healthy, sanitary way to the people who need to consume it.
Exactly.
And it kind of reminds me indirectly of a talk I heard long ago, had to do with a guy from Black & Decker, who basically was talking about how nobody wants a drill. Nobody needs a drill. What they want is a hole.
Exactly.
and it's, you're providing that perfect hole, right?
Exactly.
And you have the tools and the mechanisms to do so.
No one realizes what it takes to produce food.
Yes.
And anyone who's in the industry knows it's more than just opening the door and then in comes raw materials and out goes finished goods. It's not that simple.
Yes, I mean, long before, going back before the industrial age, I mean, it was all retail bakers and things like that, but population grew so fast and the demand for more cost-effective foods grew as well. And that is, not only, producing automobiles is what people often think of when we say industrial age, but it is everything. It was producing food. That was also what created canned goods and all these things. And so that is that. And so speaking of that is sort of, what kind of trends that do you see connected to, like what kind of things are you seeing for you in the baking industry? Is gluten-free or keto a big impact, or are there other trends that you see that we may not think of in that sense?
Well, the trends, as you say, you meant gluten-free, and so, yes, we're all involved, but that from our side of the business, we're not involved most with the ingredients. We're more involved in the production, the processing. So we're seeing a lot more in automation. How do you simplify the products? How do you make machinery, ovens, coolers, proofers, chillers, freezers, whatever, that almost run themselves? So we're coming up with ways besides the conveyor belts. How do we monitor the operations of the conveyor belts? We have, like I think we've talked about or mentioned before, if anyone's known about us, we have our Smart Spiral, which is a monitoring system that's out there to help you track some of the major components of a system. And what it does is it lets you know when things are going wrong. So it tracks certain things at temperature. We have a bearing sensor, which we have patented, which tracks the noises that the bearing's making. And as that increases, you can monitor through a trending graph and say, it's getting worse, it's getting worse. And it allows you to plan your downtime. So instead of the belt crashing on Tuesday at 2:00 in the afternoon, you can say, I'm going down Saturday at 7 in the morning. It gives me 3 hours when I'm out of production and get it. So I'm not losing product, losing time, and losing that. So we're trying to help the processors, the people that get using the belts, keep their lines running when they want them running, and they can repair them when they need to be repaired, and they can plan for that instead of unplanned downtime, which, as we know, is more costly than the dollars it costs to fix whatever it is.
You took the words right out of my mouth, because I remember from the seminar recently, you talked about this relatively newer technology that you're featuring, and it monitors all of the equipment based on information that you can provide. So of course, yes, to monitor the bearings, you kind of have to know when a worn bearing is going to, what that noise sounds like, so to speak, right? But that is phenomenal because, to your point, downtime is what costs a lot of money. And a lot of times what happens is the line goes down when you least expect it or need it. I mean, when you're at the beginning of July, when you're ramping up for hamburger buns for the 4th or something, right?
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden it goes down. But this will warn you ahead of time so that you don't have that, so you can do the maintenance, adjust the belt tensions, replace bearings or do lubrications or things like that. That is phenomenal. And you can adopt this to other components in the bakery.
Correct.
As well, not just on the belts and things like that.
And we're looking exactly. It was originally designed for spirals because Ashworth is known for the spiral conveyors. That's actually a patent we had back in the 60s. But we're looking at other conveyors because basically it's a system which is a computer-based system which you can track on your phone, your iPad, your tablet, your laptop, and get this information sent to you. But we're looking at putting it in ovens. Does it have to be an oven or a spiral? No, it can probably be a standard conveyor. So whatever has a sensor that can sense a particular item, a fault, if you want to call it, or a tractor, or trend it, I could probably hook it into our system and let you trend some data. And we're just evolving. Now, this is something we're talking with some of the producers and some of the users out there. What do they need? Because that's one thing is everyone says, I can make you something, but if no one wants it, how's it useful? So we're talking to people out there and making sure it's what they want. And we're developing and expanding the information and the technology, so to speak, to help them produce for them. So
like I heard you say iPad and presumably mobile phones and stuff, that is, again, you're ahead of me. So Ashworth has basically a leadership knowledge of always kind of knowing what's next is kind of giving me that feeling too. That's phenomenal. I mean, because I was gonna ask you, and that how do you take from these technologies and take inspiration, to provide things, all these new conventions, and incorporate them into your customer base? Well, obviously, if you're able to monitor these systems with an iPad, you've introduced now computer and information technology into your troubleshooting and maintenance systems. I mean, that is commendable. That is pure leadership. I mean,
and it's almost real-time information too. So. And it'll send our alerts. So if there's something where we have a certain set point and something exceeds a certain set point, maybe, and I think the way our algorithms are with, 1 time is an anomaly, 2 times is let's look, 3 times as an error.
Yeah.
The 3rd time is we send it, and it will get either an email, a text message, however you want that set up. And that can go to your maintenance manager. It can go to your line leader. It can go to your CEO. It could go to the corporate engineer that may be in another city, town, or country. So the way the system's set up as well is I could have monitoring systems at multiple sites, and one person in Chicago or wherever can be monitoring all his plants and say, oh yeah, everything's working well. Or he can call and say, hey, I noticed you're having a trending on certain spirals, have you looked at things? So it gives these people the ability to see things that maybe they don't have to, because everyone knows a freezer and an oven, you don't go in there unless you have to. Too hot, too cold. You stay out of them. So if we have these trending data sensors and whatever can do this, we get the heads up, as you said or alluded to, that before they break. So if we got
to get the flour millers to visit with you. That'll be phenomenal. I mean, and so how do you now, you're very inspirational. You're very passionate about what you do, and you really have knowledgeable, about what you do, not just because you've been there 30 years, but because you care about the customers, and that really comes through. And so how do you influence your customers and stuff through your expertise? I'm influenced now, right? But I mean, how do you grab onto that? What's your motivation or things in that sense? So using
motivation is I just love what I do. I mean, I'm one of those guys that I found something I like and I happen to call it work. So it works out great. But the biggest thing is when I talk to customers, you don't talk down to customers. You don't tell customers, you listen. What can I do for you? What can I help for you? And sometimes you can help them, sometimes you can't. But sometimes by listening and hearing what they say and what they understand, and once you know their issues, their concerns, it becomes your issues and your concerns. So you can adopt that. And that's the one thing is I've built a team here as well. And the team here, especially at Ashworth, we've always been this way, is we go out to offer solutions. So you tell us what you need, and we're going to give you what you need, not what we want to sell you or what we can provide. So, granted, every business is a business to be in business and make whatever it is, but really Ashworth is known for helping. So what are your issues? What are your concerns? Like I said, we have 200 patents, and a lot of those patents have come about because people have said, I have something I can't do and I need to get done. How do you do it? And of course, we came up with an idea, here it is, boom, so it worked out and helped things, the spiral conveyor, oven, smart spiral. It was from people saying, because we have a service group as well, and they get calls at 2 a.m. My spiral, my oven conveyor went down. I need somebody here right away. Yep. Where if I would have known this last Friday, I could have scheduled it. I could have had, the equipment on site. I could have had materials there, spare parts. Now a 2-hour job is a weekend job because I can't find parts and I'm scrambling. So eliminating that type of fragility, I guess, in the industry or the and weekend overtime is very helpful. Yes, overtime. Right? Well, like you say, if I go down on a Tuesday afternoon, I have materials, product that's now thrown away, lost. I have people that I'm either paying for or letting go home who's not getting paid and they're not happy or whatever it is to get things taken care of. Where I can plan it, it's better off for everybody. So that's the intent. When we listen, we try to, perform, provide services and not just product.
And I think I hear what your advice is, but I'm going to ask you anyway. What do you have any particular advice, or how would you phrase your advice for our baking industry professionals? I mean, what's the thing top of mind that you would kind of advise people?
What I tell people is, if you want to move forward, tomorrow's coming. It's going to come. So I even tell the guys here, I said, the easiest way to get to tomorrow is to start today. So my let's just say, it's like push the pebble. And what I'm saying is, you got to start small, push the little pebble. It's like a snowball. You start it small at the top. By the time it gets to the bottom of the hill, it's a big solution. So, and it's very adaptable. So, but again, somebody has to start it. So we like to say, you give us the seed, we're going to start pushing. So we're trying to build the momentum. We're trying to grow that. We're trying to make things go. So things are going to happen. I can't stop the evolution of time, but if I can maybe steer it in a direction that's helping people and helping, production, foods, and corporation, that's our intent. So we continue to do that.
That's amazing. That's excellent advice as always, Jonathan. It's always a pleasure speaking with you, and I learn so much every time, and I really appreciate you guys. And thank you very much for joining us on Thought Leadership Thursday. To all our baker friends, be sure to check out the Ashworth link below in the description. And remember to visit Bakerpedia for all your technical baking resources. And don't forget to sign up for the Baker Academy today. So happy Thursday, everyone, and happy baking, and see you next time. Thank you, Jonathan.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, everybody. Bye now.